Welcome back to Explain the Charts. Today we're analyzing Apple, APL, stock, combining current news and chart data. Recent headlines highlight tariff uncertainty and Apple's upcoming earnings report. Let's see how these factors are reflected in the charts. Several experts have offered predictions for Apple's 2025 performance, with targets ranging from $245 to $325. We'll assess these predictions in light of our chart analysis. Remember, these are just predictions. We will formulate some unbiased predictions based on the data. News indicates Apple's Q2 earnings will be closely watched due to tariff implications. Any forward guidance provided by Apple will be crucial. Let's start with the daily chart to get a broad overview. Looking at the last year, we see a volatile but generally upward trend. We can see a low near $170 in March 2024 and a high near $260 in December 2024. More recently, we see a low around $175 in April 2025. The current price is around $210, which is well below the 52-week high and near the bottom of that range. There appears to be resistance around $220, which held the price down throughout March 2025. If the news is positive with the earnings data, we could expect a bounce to the upside. Now, let's zoom in on the last few months on the one-day chart. From December 2024 to April 2025. The support around $175 in April 2025 is definitely something we need to keep our eyes on. If we break below that, we can expect a big move down, potentially testing previous lows. To the upside, we would need a clear break above the resistance at $220. Otherwise, we are in a downtrend with bounces to lower highs until that happens. The analysts are expecting earnings per share of $1.62 on revenue of $94.2 billion. Keep a close watch on how it does compared to those metrics. Let's check out the hourly chart to refine our view. Looking at the hourly chart from April 8th to 11th, 2025, we can clearly see the big dip from around $185 to $170 around April 8th, then the very rapid rebound back up near $200. If we look closely at April 9th, we see that we get a very high price of $200 at 1900 hours Universal Time Coordinated, before falling back to around $190 by the end of April 10th. If we move to the 15-minute chart, we can look at the very recent action and try to gauge how likely the $210 level will hold or break. Looking at the 15-minute chart from April 24th to 25th, 2025, we can see there was definitely a move up from around $203.50 to $207.80, and since then it's more or less been trading sideways near that price. It looks as if it may have found resistance around $208.60, or possibly even in the $209 to $210 range. So we will need to monitor that data to see if it can move past those levels. If Apple manages to break above $211, the upward momentum could be significant, potentially testing the $220 resistance level on the daily chart. Alternatively, a failure to hold above $207, especially with negative earnings news, could trigger a sell-off, pushing the price down towards the $175 support level. Keep an eye on those key price levels. Okay, to recap, we're watching for a break above $211 to confirm a bullish trend. A move below $207 would suggest further downside risk. Tariff news could impact earnings and sentiment. Expect earnings to determine the short-term direction. A positive earnings report, exceeding expectations, could see Apple pushing towards $230, but the $220 level presents a real challenge. I'd estimate 40% chance it breaks $220 with positive news. A negative report could easily send it back to the $175 support level. 60% chance we test that level if the earnings and guidance is bad. Remember, This is Explain the Charts. Trade carefully and stay informed.